Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Armentrout with me today, and I'm so excited to talk to you, Jen. So I have a list of questions, and then we have some fun stuff at the end. So today is the release day for Opposition. Last November 2nd, I was with you for Sentinel. And so today we conclude the Luxe series with this final book. Is it exciting when you end a series? Do you get nervous? Is it kind of weird and bittersweet? How are you feeling today?
I think it's really bittersweet. You're excited because the series, like the book, is finally coming into people's hands, and they're excited, and you want people to see and read the book. But then it's bittersweet because that's it. It's the end. It's over. So it's a mixture of both.
Is that, when there's a last book in the series, there's always this fear that it's not going to live up to reader expectations. There's a tremendous amount of anticipation and hype. Do you think about that at all when you're writing, or do you find it, difficult to wrap so much up in terms of the storyline, or is it really not so bad?
For me, you do think of that, especially with the last book in the series. You do worry that people are not, ultimately, some people are not going to be satisfied. And I think I've been that way with reading books, and it's the last book in the series, and then you get it, and you're just let down because it's, I think partially it's the last book in the series, and it's just, there's sometimes expectations that get built that you just can't live up to. So you try your best. I think the scariest thing is that there's no do-overs. Like, if you feel like you didn't do your best once it was done, all of us try to do our best, but sometimes you just think afterwards, oh, I wish I'd done something a little different. You can't do that over. That's it. So you got to hope at the end of the book you've covered everything that you possibly could wrap up. I do think there's some things in the Luxe world that aren't going to wrap up in a neat little bow by the end of the book. So,
well, I think people are really excited to get their hands on this book. And as a series, what inspired you to come up with the series? How did you kind of dream it? How did you create, Damon, our kind of favorite alien bad boy?
Like, there's that many alien bad boys to choose from.
He's the best.
He's the best. He's the only one. The funny thing about the Obsidian is I actually had turned in the manuscript for a different book to my editor, and she had jokingly asked, since I can write so fast, if I would consider writing a book about aliens in high school. And I laughed and said, hell no. I was like, who wants to read about aliens in high school? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. And then I got off the phone and I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, not since Roswell. Was there anything like that? I Am Number 4 really isn't a romance. It's more of an action. So the more I thought about it, I called the editor back, and I was just like, okay, you just want aliens in high school? And she said, yeah. So that's the only thing she told me. So I went and created, Obsidian out of that aliens in high school. Damon was always a jerk in the first draft. But I had gotten one of the best editorial notes ever on a manuscript, and it literally said, I want Damon to be more of an ass in my editorial notes. And I was like, that's not something you hear often from an editor. I was like, okay, well, I can do that.
I can
go there. So I actually did have to make him more of a jerk in the editorial notes. But it made sense for the way I was seeing the series, because in the start of Onyx, he really has to work for Katie's affection. And I know a lot of people are frustrated with Katie, but it's like you can't undo what all the stuff he did in Obsidian. So, but yeah, it was almost the book that never happened. I was never going to write something like that.
So did you write Obsidian before Shadows then?
Yes. I wrote Obsidian in, I think, September of 2012. No, 2011. 2011. I wrote it in September 2011 because it came out in December 2011. It was the original version came out. And then I wrote Shadows in December and Onyx in January, February.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think here we are, talking about Opposition, and I think back to that first scene, when Katie goes up and knocks on the door and sees Damon for the first time.
My blog is better than your blog.
Yes.
T-shirt.
That's right.
Well, the funny thing is in Obsidian, Dawson was in Obsidian, the original version. Both of them were in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had to take Dawson out, and that's how I was able to give him the backstory for Shadows.
Yes, I didn't know anything about the series. I remember when I first read Shadows, I was like, what?
You're like, what kind of crappy love story is
what
this?
Happened? So what can readers expect with this final book? What can they expect in Opposition?
Definitely no Katie and Damon babies. No. I know you were really looking forward to that, right?
I was.
It's you find out a lot. You find out some stuff about Luke that I think people I've known that have read the book, we're very interested in seeing about him. You will see Hunter and Serena, and you will see the leader of the Aram, and a lot of fight scenes, lots of action. And that's about all I can really say, I think, without getting too spoilerific.
Lots of surprises then.
Yeah.
So, speaking in terms of what you have coming up, you have 2 more releases coming up this year. Stay With Me and Stone Cold Touch. So let's talk a little bit about Stay With Me. That's book 3 in the Wait For You series, which is a new adult romance series, which releases in September. So what can you tell us about that story?
Stay With Me is actually my favorite in the line of the story so far. And it's definitely, I think, well, it could be my favorite because I modeled the guy after Theo James, so that might, be a little bias there on that. But the story is just, the story for me was something different. And you learn fairly quickly that Callie from Be With Me. She was Teresa's friend. And you realize that she lied about something pretty major to her friends from the beginning. And I think it just sets the stage for someone who's told such a horrible lie, but you totally understand why. The moment you see,
yes,
but it really is. And also what I really like about it is it's not typical. It has a suspense angle, has action to it, but it's it's still a romance at the heart of it. But it's my favorites out of them.
And after Stay With Me, you have Stone Cold Touch in October, which I cannot wait for. We were pretty shocked and surprised after White Hot Kiss, but it seems like we're going to be getting more secrets and surprises and lots of action, right?
Yes. And this is not a spoiler. It's in the synopsis for Stone Cold Touch. Roth is back. I mean, it's in the synopsis. And I want to be like, you spoiled it. It's in the synopsis of the book.
Yes.
And yeah, there's definitely some major things happening in that book. There is a lot. Stone Cold Touch and Stay With Me are the 2 longest books I've ever written. Stay With Me, I think, came in around 130-some thousand words, and Stone Cold Touch was around. Stay With Me might have been 140, and Stay With Me was around 120, 130,000. So for YA, that's, like some people that might be not a lot, but that's
a good chunk of words.
That's a good chunk of
Yeah.
words. But there is actually a fairly big announcement that's going to be made in regards of the Dark Element series that I'm really excited about, that I hope you guys will be excited about once the announcement is made in the next week or so. But it's interesting what's going to happen with that series. That's all I can say.
Fantastic series. So we cannot wait. Finally to pick, your team.
Yes.
Whether you're a Roth lover or a Zane lover. So we can't wait.
But I actually have a 3rd release coming this year. It hasn't been announced yet, but in December I am self-publishing a new adult paranormal called Wicket. And it actually it has supernatural creatures that I have never, ever, ever in history written about, which a lot of people I think will be shocked. It actually has to do with the Fae. But these are not your mama's Fae.
The tagline right there.
Not your mama's Fae. It's a totally different mythology that I created. It's not reminiscent of any Fae really that you know. I mean,
Genthology.
It's Genthology.
You heard it first right here.
Genthology Fae, and it is. I mean, it has some of the mythology, but it's not like anything that I personally have read about Fae, and I did it on purpose because I really don't know a lot about the Fae, and I kept it that way. I didn't want to be bogged down with what is known about them. But it's a new adult paranormal. The girl is very kick-ass. She's a very strong character. She does have some vulnerabilities. She has kind of a secret that she's been keeping. It features a really, really sexy guy who I have to say has some of the best dialogue that I have written has been from him. And
are you telling me he's going to rival Damon, rival Aiden?
He actually, I think, is going to rival Cam. which is, I judge my guys by, is he a Cam, is he an Aiden, or is he a Damon? And, so basically Zane and Aiden are together in a group. Roth, Damon are together in a group. Jax probably falls somewhere in between an Aiden and a Damon. And Jace, I think, is kind of like a Damon. So, but then there's Cam, and nobody has been like Cam. And but this guy's, he has a very Cam flair to him, but a lot naughtier. But he's also pretty kick-ass. I'm excited about this book. It's going to come out the beginning of December. So
amazing! I can't believe you just told us. That's so exciting. And I think we definitely, I love paranormal. I love your brand of paranormal, so I cannot wait to.
And also takes place in New Orleans, so fun stuff there.
Crazy stuff happens. Yeah. One of the things, speaking of kind of Jen Armentrout type of brand, one of the things that I identify with your books is the humor and the wit that you infuse every book that I've read. So there's, whether it's a heartfelt romance or a paranormal or whatever kind of book it is, there's always this, wit that's in there. Is that something that you do intentionally, or something that is just you and how you write? I just love that about your books.
I think it's just something how I write. However, when people come to expect it, then it has to become intentional, and I don't like when it's intentional, because then I don't think it's as genuine as it would be. But I notice, like, all my books, I don't think there's any book I've ever written that doesn't have that kind of snark to it. I mean, Don't Look Back was a little different, but then once, her personality started to evolve, that voice is there. But I think it's just the way I think. So, and that's how it comes out.
And, next year, you're a pretty prolific writer, so you always have a lot of releases. We have, Seth's Return and The Dead List, which you recently announced as well. What is something, really exciting? What are you looking forward to next year?
Well, next year that I know of so far that I have coming out, I have The Return, The Dead List, Fall With Me, which is the 4th book in the Wait For You series, Every Last Breath, the last book in the Dark Element, and I probably will have like the sequel to Wicked would probably come out during that time. And I know there's probably more books, I just don't know what my schedule is at this point. But I think The Return I'm really excited about because it's Seth's book is dual. Yeah, it's Seth. It's dual POV, so you get Seth's POV in it, which is something that you never got before. And I'm interested in what readers are going to think, like, once they get to Seth's head. I think they have this perception of Seth. And yes, he is a bit of a snarky, charming dude that you like to kick as much as you like to kiss, but he's actually pretty deeper than that. And I think finally getting to show, like, how he thinks of himself and stuff like that. But I'm excited about that. I'm excited about The Return. Fall With Me, and of course the ending of The Dark Element.
Well, I asked, my reading group, the Vixens, to come up with some rapid-fire questions to get to know you a little better. So here goes. In honor of Cam, favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Favorite hero?
That I've written? Or
and a hero.
And a hero. Rick Grimes, Walking Dead. I don't, does he count?
Theo James.
Theo James. Yes, Theo James. Oh my God, I feel like I've just lost like all Theo James points.
We'll just pretend that
we'll
you said it from the beginning.
For Theo James.
Do you have a favorite heroine? Alex is one of mine, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Riley from Demon Trapper's Daughter.
Favorite Black Dagger brother?
Rage, all the way.
I didn't know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Favorite word?
Banana. I don't know why. It's just lately I'd just be like running through the house and be like, banana, and that's it.
Favorite saying?
2 of them. Jesus, take the wheel. That's one of my favorite sayings, and I'm always upset like when I miss an opportunity to use that, like I kept missing at Book Bash. And also, one of these days, I would love to be able to yell, by the power of Christ, I compel you. And I'm like waiting for these 2 moments to happen, and I keep missing these opportunities.
We'll look for them in one of your books. Mm-hmm. Craziest thing a fan has ever done? That you can talk about.
Yeah. Smelling or touching my hair. I've had people ask if they can touch my hair, and I'm kind of like, it's real. Like, I don't know if they're trying to feel it to see if it's real or not. I let them touch my hair. I'm like, sure. But yeah, that's probably smelling and touching my hair.
Favorite book of the moment? Do you have one?
I've been reading a lot of old school historical romance right now. I've been reading, and I always say her name wrong, and everybody says her name differently. It's like Gillian Foley or Gillian Foley or Gillian Foley. Everybody says it differently. I've been reading a lot of historical romance, but I've read recently The Beautiful Ashes by Janine Frost. I Want It That Way by Anne I always say her last name wrong. Anne Wire. Aguirre.
Oh, Aguirre?
Yeah, there you go. I need that accent to say that. I really, really, really love that. That has got to be one of my favorite new adult books because to me, it flipped the trope. It flipped it completely, and I can't. Neither of those two books come out yet, so sorry guys about that. They come out in August.
Author you fangirl over?
Oh Jesus. Rachel Vincent, J.R. Ward, Jana Oliver. Mostly them.
Awesome. Dean or Sam?
Dean, all the way.
Favorite line you've written?
Oh, God. My ADD has ADD.
Yes, I like that one. If you weren't writing, what would you be doing?
Rocking in a corner somewhere.
And who would you pick to write your biography?
Oh, Jesus. J.R. Ward. Because I think that would be interesting, because then I could end up in the Brotherhood somehow.
And maybe like Theo
totally
James
fake.
would have
Yeah,
some kind
right?
of like sword.
Yes, that'd be perfect.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you for having me.
spending some time with me and giving us some big news. So thank you. We can't wait.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.